r/AskReddit. What is the thing we don't talk about in your family? The fact that 46 children have left our parents' religion, which is a huge social stigma and personal disappointment for them. My sister is really my stepsister, didn't find out till I was like 35. My grandfather had a lover 4 years before him, and my grandmother divorced. He started seeing her a few years before I was born. Right after the divorce was final, my grandma died from cancer and my grandpa married his old lover. She has a son, 2 years older than me, looks just like him. No one has dared to ask any questions, implying my family talks to each other in the first place. We don't talk about the authentic shrunken heads my grandfather collected. They were buried with him. How my parents were able to afford a house suddenly while working a minimum wage job and having recently immigrated to America dirt poor. They would never tell me where they got the money from. That my family was very involved with a small 50 family top secret cult that included preparing for the end of the world and stockpiling canned goods and water in $1 million barn in the woods surrounded by small cabins. My parents got recruited for this cult when I was 4 years old and left when I was 15. It was our whole life. Everything revolved around it. All our money went into it. My parents can't talk about it. My mother flies into an insane rage. I've never told anyone the whole story start to finish. I doubt I ever will. I could write a book about the bizarre childhood I had. Logistically, my sister's first child cannot possibly have been her husband's biological child, but he claimed the child as his own. They eloped about 6 weeks before he was born. There is no way he wasn't deployed when conception took place. She hasn't ever said a single word about it, but everyone knows. We are not sure if he's actually that bad at math, he is pretty dumb, or if he didn't care. Maybe he's got sperm issues and they decided to do the sperm donor way. I had 2 uncles. My uncle accidentally ran over his brother when they were in their 20s and drunk one night. The brother died a few days later. That's not talked about. Only found out from my aunt when she was under anesthesia and blurting out all kinds of shit. The rampant alcoholism. I'll drink to that. The time my mom was on Wheel of Fortune. It did not go well. The physical abuse we suffered as kids. Parents have no idea what we are talking about when we bring it up. Mom's side, my great uncle sexually assaulted my aunt when she was a child and seriously damaged her cervix. As a result, all of her children were seriously premature and some died as infants. Dad's side, my cousin murdered 2 people, but when he wasn't doing heroin and strangling women, he kept in touch with my mom and found the best bargains on small decorative porcelain houses for her. How sweet. The friend of a close cousin who raped me. Everyone acts like it never happened. Better yet, he died a few years later, and they all were part of the big memorial that has become an annual thing. They even wear rubber bracelets for the fucker. Pretty much disowned all my family. The Thanksgiving meal prep where my mother got her hand stuck inside the frozen turkey for several hours. Bringing this one up gets you the laser beam eyes death glare. I caught my parents smoking weed once when I was young, and one day, after I got yelled at for something threatened that I knew a secret that could tear this family apart. I just finished taking dare, so I thought that was a big deal. My parents flipped out. Turns out my dad was having an affair and my mom only had slight suspicions, and I brought the whole thing to light. My cousin, who is a principal and was married with kids, had an affair with a teacher. She was also married. They both ended both of their marriages and got together. The teacher was my math teacher at the time while this all happened. Now they are married and I see them at family reunions. Extremely awkward for me. Edit. Happy cake day off. When my grandmother was diagnosed with end-stage cancer, she offered to kill my father who was caught molesting me. My mother's mental health. She hallucinated off and on for years and was never totally stable. She didn't believe there was anything wrong with her and never got help. But she told everyone in the immediate family, and she's mentioned that over the years she discussed her visions with various other people. Like, it's a known thing about her. but we never discussed it among ourselves at home when she wasn't in the room. No one outside of our immediate family, who also knows about her condition, has ever brought it up to me. I think if a bunch of us were ever in the same room and the subject came up in conversation, all of our brains would melt and pour right out of our ears. That my mom had a baby at 17 and was forced to give it up for adoption. No one but a few people know, even less who will talk about it. My mom has never recovered from being tricked into giving up her baby. My grandpa used to molest children. I was never affected personally, yet my family is so big on the idea of second chances and forgiveness that it's incredibly taboo to talk about, and everyone is just keen to forget about it. My mother literally excused it by saying that he was too old and too physically incapable of it anymore, so it no longer matters. Edited for clarity. My second cousin was always very introverted. Nobody ever really saw him, and he never really met anyone beyond immediate family due to him just not being interested in knowing any of us. He left home and cut everyone off. Hell, I had no idea he existed. Fast forward and my first cousin is excited to bring her husband to the family reunion. The two eloped, so we did not know who this mystery man was. She walks up, and there's a second cousin with her. The older family members knew exactly who he was, and, well, they were expecting and married, so we said fuck it, and just had the family reunion. We don't mention the cousin thing, because it's been acknowledged, and we all decided to move past it as to not make them feel weird. The bunny incident. So we had a bunny at our dad's house a few years ago. Its name was Wally. My dad has bad OCD, so he tried to wash it. For people who don't know, you don't wash bunnies. Spoiler alert, he died. My parents were never actually married and played it off like they were for 20 plus years. Oh, and my dad cheated on my mom with a dude who dresses in drag for a living. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and click that notification bell so that you can see when I upload new daily content. Goodbye.